to professional speakers in Cherry Creek Toastmasters. Joan has a business called FMNN Power, Feminine Power, and it's aimed at women's empowerment. Joan also teaches at Colorado Free University. Joan is on track toward her DTM, her Distinguished Toastmasters Achievement, and that takes many years. And it signifies there is one among us who is accomplished, experienced, and a leader, and an organizer, and knowledgeable in the ways of effective communication. And she is eager to share her knowledge with you. Joan is also working, as Keith mentioned, toward her second competent communicator goal, thus today's speech. And the speech is modestly titled, Joan's Best Speech of All Time. Let's welcome Joan Janis, Joan's Best Speech of All Time.
You should know that it is my quest that every time I give a speech, it is the best speech of all time. If he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. Have you heard that phrase? Have you said that yourself? I have. I associate that now in my life with positive things. If she can win the championship, I can too. If he can make $1 million, I can too. If she can lose 30 pounds in a weekend, I can too. It didn't always used to be that way. When I was growing up, my mom had a way of twisting that around. So when something kind of bad happened to someone, she would say, that could be us. That could be you, Joni. And I grew up with a certain level of fear hovering over me. I would see my friends do things like have a few too many cocktails and drive their car into the ocean. And I would think, second round, I'm having coffee. I would take these things as cautionary, but my mom took it too far. I remember the weekend she canceled our trip to New York City because she'd read the paper. People are jumping out the windows. Mom, there's 12 million people in New York. Only 2 jumped out the window. 2, that's nothing. It wouldn't be nothing if it was you they landed on, would it? How could I argue with that? I remember the time she kept me from going golfing. Do you know how many people get struck by lightning on a golf course? I thought, how many people get struck by lightning in their bathtub? So one day, when I was 19, I decided, declared, and decreed that from here on forward, I was not going to be afraid. I was not going to live my life in fear of what could happen to me. I told my mother, I'm getting up, I'm getting out, and I'm going places. About a month ago, I was reminded of that decision that I had made. You see, I was driving south on Tamarack Drive. My friend Donisa was in the passenger seat. Nothing unusual was happening. We were cruising along behind a car. There was a car behind me. Cars were coming the other way. When suddenly the car in front of me took a 45-degree angle and kept going. And kept going. When she hit the fence, wow! It was like a cartoon. The boards flew everywhere, everywhere. The sound was amazing. Splintering of wood. And she kept going. She hit the bird bath, and the concrete top of it flew off and bounced on her car. She hit the next fence, and this one was even more spectacular than the first one. And we both, Donisa and I, said, oh no, as she hit the house. It occurred to me that if it could happen to her, it could happen to me. I suddenly realized I could have some sort of medical event, that's what I assumed happened. I could just go off the track. I could leave the road. This could happen to me. I got a little bit afraid. And then I said to Janisa, I could do this. I could drive into someone's house. And Janisa, she doesn't drive, so this was her response. I could be showing up next week in church in a wheelchair, and when they say, Janisa, what happened? I'd say I was laying in bed, and a car drove through and broke both my legs. I realized right then that whether you drive or you don't drive, what really makes sense is to live your life without fear. Because at any moment, anything can happen to any of us. Why be afraid? Why not get out, get up, go places, and live your life knowing if it can happen to them, it can happen to me. And look at that in the most positive light, because anything that can happen to anyone can happen to all of us at any time. Get up, get out, go places. There's nowhere safe, not even your bed.